Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
My guy Joe Spiker at Easton Roofing will take care of you. Joe doing phenomenal work right now. Go to eastonroofing.com and check out all the great work that Easton Roofing does. Did you know that Easton Roofing has a network of lenders available to compete for your business? That's right. They can offer you financing choices that other roofers simply cannot. You pick the financing that fits your best needs, not just one kind of financing, which is what you find with other roofing companies, many different kinds. So what works best for you? Find out. Go to eastonroofing.com. Banks competing for your business makes it better for you. The other roofing companies are going to try to pigeonhole you into just one financing option, but the best rates ever are available right now. Joe Spiker and his team can take care of you at Easton Roofing with great financing. If that roof needs to be done now and it can't wait, and you don't have the cash for it, you can finance it. Joe said the rates, I think did you say less than half of what it had been? Just great rates right now. Call Easton Roofing today at 913-257-5426, commercial or residential. Easton Roofing, getting you back to life faster. I'm at All Weather Decks, enjoying a beautiful day outside where it's 70 degrees, and the Taco Republic truck is giving you free tacos. I don't know how you could beat that. Chick-Hoven Swine is giving you free barbecue. Taco Republic will be done at 3, so if you're going to grab you some tacos, get here. Man, they were good. My compliments to the folks over at Taco Republic. They did great. I haven't gotten to the barbecue yet, but we got the thumbs up from Rob Manning. He was shoveling it in like the man is not allowed to eat in his own home. So he was going at it. So come get you some free food and check out all the options you have to build that ultimate deck, patio, screened-in porch. It's here, 42nd and Metropolitan. We're just east of 635, 4221 Metropolitan Ave. And you can check out their showroom where they've got a display of all kinds of the different materials. Plus, they got a great sale going on right now with some of the overstocked stone. So if you need some stone work done, now's a great time. You can get a great price right now at All Weather Decks, their new showroom. It's open. It's at 4221 Metropolitan Ave. Have we found Danny? Is Danny there? Have we unleashed him on the studio yet?
Oh, I've been here a lot today. I was here about noon, as a matter of fact.
That's what I heard. I heard that they'd been seeing you since noon, but they couldn't find you at 3 when you were supposed to be on the radio. So I just wanted to make sure. Everything okay? You good,
Already,
Danny?
I'm good. I'm just ready to be unleashed. I mean, I had several people reaching out to me in the last 24 hours asking me if I was going to be unleashed. I certainly think so, and unless somebody leashes me. So,
by the way, it is Danny Unleashed, and I do see him as a dog that's unleashed. Like when I was on my old man walk today, there was a dog that was unleashed. I see you as this dog. He was probably, I don't know, in the 4 to 5 pound range.
Right.
Little cute, fluffy thing. Like, you can be unleashed as like a ravenous Rottweiler, or you can also be just a cutie, fluffy, little puppy-looking dog.
You know what I am? I'm a pit bull. But I can be the pit bull that a pit bull owner will tell you that his pit bull is, which is just a regular old nice dog, and the other pit bulls are the bad ones. Or I can be a pit bull that could just rip your throat out. So I can be both.
Okay, good to know. We'll find out. We'll see which one
out.
You end up being when it's all said and done.
That's right. That is right. Correct. You are correct,
Danny,
sir.
we've made our selections as to what we have the Chiefs going. The schedule came out. It's a big deal. They had a show.
They did.
For the schedule release of the NFL. Did you watch it?
I did not. And I think it's among 8 million things that are a testimony to the absolute incredible power of the National Football League. A show about the release of the schedule is just, it just takes the cake. It's awesome.
Does anybody watch it, though? Because I keep asking people, did you watch it? And nobody said they watched it.
I think that it's just the kind of thing you can, within, whatever many seconds of the time it's released, you just go on your computer or your phone and you look at it, which is really the way you want to do it anyway.
I think one thing that hurts it, obviously, is that half the thing gets released beforehand. But you know what? If they were able to somehow keep it under wraps until the show began, I still wouldn't watch it.
No, I certainly wouldn't.
All I want to see is my team's schedule.
Yeah.
And then various different things. Then, the other, football writers will tell me what I need to know. Right? Oh, the Raiders have the most short week games. And big game. Tom Brady's going back in week 5 or 6 to New England. It's like, okay, I don't need to sift through 32 teams, 17 games to try to discover that on my own when I know somebody else is going to do it for me. And by the way, though, a little bit, because I popped over to the show twice, they're not even talking about what the games are.
No.
Let's interview so-and-so about what kind of team so-and-so is going to be. I thought it was the schedule release show.
Yeah. It could be something, and it ends up being nothing.
Yeah, if you want to break down game by game, you can't do that because there's too many teams. You could say make a segment, we'll go every week and pick out the best game and break it down. That in bullet point fashion.
Even that would be better.
That'd be 20 minutes. Do a minute on each game. That's the best game of the week. But you can't. There's too many games. Yeah. Somebody locally could do that with their team and does, no doubt.
Break down the schedules of the defending Super Bowl teams or something. If you have some kind of feature where you go, let's look at the Bucs, look at the Chiefs, look at Bills and whoever. But to just not even, as you're right, Soren, to have a schedule show and then
not talk about the schedule.
Everything but the schedule is just, it makes something that already is borderline farcical just over the balcony.
My frustration with the NFL Network is I think there are distinct possibilities. I think that there should be at least a 30-minute, if not 60-minute show about every team every week. Right? They should have but they don't. What do they do? They're just a knockoff of SportsCenter with just football. Basic, generic. Right. They have all this access, right, theoretically, and yet they and listen, I don't hate the NFL Network. There's some good television on there, but I just think when they said we're having the NFL Network, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. We're going to get all kinds of NFL film style, behind the scenes type of stuff, and no, that's not what we get. We get the opposite. We get just surface area crap like we get everywhere else.
Exactly. I'm just clicking around a little bit here. How about this one? Patrick Mahomes' game schedule. Not the Chiefs. There's this article here with Patrick Mahomes' schedule.
Is it different from the Chiefs?
No, I think it's the same. I believe so. But maybe they could do one with Aaron Rodgers where, after week 5 he's traded or he doesn't start playing until week 7 or something like that. I don't know.
The schedule of the top 5 quarterbacks.
The thing is that what you say is so accurate about they do a specific show about the team and bring in the people who cover the team on a regular basis or have your correspondent there or whatever. Because if you try to do these overarching things for each team, the real good fan, of which obviously there are a lot in the National Football League because they actually watch shows like the schedule show, they know more than you do about the team. So, I mean, you're not going to give them anything they can't get on their own.
Right. No. Anyway, I digress. So what do you have the Chiefs going?
I'm going to just say, I did it earlier, and then I was, but what I found myself when I was going down game by game, I'm like, I ended up with 13-3, but
or 4.
14-3. But I think that the Chiefs are in such a position that they are so strong that what I usually do is say, boy, that's a tough road game, or that's what I think the Chiefs are just going to randomly lose 3 games, and for me to sit here and say I think I know what they are, I think it's kind of silly because I literally.
So wait a minute. So basically, Danny, you just called our first hour silly.
No, I think people are interested.
Because we went through game by game and picked which ones we think they're going to lose.
No,
and you just insulted my life's work, Danny.
Hope you enjoyed your last appearance on the program.
I meant for me it's silly because when I'm going through it, I'm like, well, darn it, they really probably should win this game. And they probably should win. Like at the Ravens. Okay, that's a game you might ordinarily pick the Chiefs to lose. All right?
Right.
But they beat the Ravens 3 times in a row, and they kind of own the Ravens right now. So why would I pick them to lose that game? But I just think it's hard to win 17 games, so I'll say that they'll just stumble 3 times, and they probably won't even be the 3 games that I would lean toward them potentially losing. But no, I don't think your exes. I think people really enjoy that type of thing. So, absolutely.
I like it.
And they did it themselves, too.
Right. What I think is fun is trying to call your shot on where they're going to lose, because we know, like you said, it's really kind of random on when the Chiefs get caught.
Right.
And that, to me, is what makes it entertaining.
Yeah, they're so if a lesser team is out there, you can say they're just not quite as good as this team, or they're an even matchup with this team, but this game's on their field. I'll pick them. Well, the Chiefs basically are better than all the teams on their schedule. Okay? They are. Mm-hmm. So, if you were just going to do it game by game, and you come up with 17-0 because they're better than every team. But you sort of realize that just doesn't happen, especially now that there's 17 games. Yeah. So, would be astounded if the 3 losses were at the Washington football team. Then one legit team like maybe the Ravens, whatever, and then some other, game that you never thought they would lose.
Well, that's why it was fun, because I have them losing at home to the Chargers, at football team, at home to the Giants, at Vegas, and at the Chargers.
And all are fine selections, and how we actually came down on the same Washington football team one when I was otherwise. I heard the last 20 minutes, but I didn't hear the first
Which is
40.
probably why they will roll that game, because we think we're crafty and we've got that front 7, and they'll kind of look past them, and so they'll go hammer them by 40.
35-7.
I love the fact that Washington did change their name, and I don't necessarily have a strong opinion about the fact that they left it at football team. It's okay. But it is kind of funny if you just go and lose to Washington football team. It's so generic.
I think they should do it like a soccer club and make it Washington FT. Just call it try to make it hip.
Something, yeah.
Well, I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to do it for 2 reasons. One, it is kind of nouveau and chic and hip and popular to do that. Right now, it's remember when everybody was laughing at Sporting Kansas City, and it's now the thing to do. So I think it's cool, but I also think they figure that the fans that didn't want the name to change, by not giving it a new name, they can go ahead and, still call it Redskins.
Oh, I see.
Well, the thing that was funny back in the
day.
And
they're somewhat happy. They're placated.
Mm-hmm. The thing that, in retrospect and looking back when Sporting changed their name to Sporting FC, it was just the people who were outraged or laughed or thought it was silly or whatever just didn't know anything whatsoever about soccer, because there's a million such and such FCs around the world.
I was one of those.
But they're
guys,
not
I'll
FC, by the way. So
you mean Sporting KC?
Sporting KC.
I was one of those guys that looked at and went, I don't know how that's going to fly. And damned if it didn't.
But
they were good, but I think that was huge in their marketing, and I was an idiot.
But what I meant to say was there's a million Sporting blah, 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 like Sporting Lisbon, Sporting whatever. But it's turned out great. The rebranding was fantastic, and it created basically a new sort of big thing in Kansas City sports.
Give me why it goes really right, and we're talking about 16-1-ish. 15-2 with a mailed-in, 15-1 with a mailed-in last loss. Give me why it goes wrong.
Wow.
Beyond the obvious injuries, right? That can sack anybody in football.
Beyond injuries, you're really hard pressed to grasp what could really, really go wrong. The Chiefs. Okay, maybe people have found a little bit a better formula to slow down the Chiefs, but what does that mean? They're going to score, 25 most of the time, 27 most of the time instead of over 30 all the time, and you still have to score that many. I guess there's the possibility that the Chiefs' defense, which they didn't really improve necessarily, could take a step back. But I'm hard pressed to think. What do you say? What could you?
Well, so like I had them at 12-5, where I think I'll probably, if I end up sticking with that before the season goes, and whenever we do our predictions for the 810 site and magazine and everything, I believe that I'll be the low water guy. The reason I put them at 12-5 is because the history, Curtis's work on the history of teams going for a third Super Bowl, they averaged about like 10 and 5, right? Because 14-4 teams or 14-game teams are in there as well in the history of the Super Bowl. So they average about 10-5. And so that means kind of 11-5 in a 16 game, which means we came up with whatever it was, like 11.5 and 5.5 would be the average, presumably on a 17-game season. And so, I bumped them on up. Okay, give Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes the benefit of the doubt and bump it on up to the 12-5. I may end up saying, look, they are just going to be so tough offensively to stop that I'll go to 13-4. I don't see any scenario that has me at 14-3, 15-2, 16-1, 17-0. I don't see myself going beyond 13-4, and it's because when I hear, it's like all of us were like, no problem with the Bucs. They beat them once, they'll beat them again, and we just breezed right by the offensive line. Everybody's decided that the Chiefs are pissed, and so it's going to be a bloodletting, and they're going to play every game like it's Ohio State, Michigan, for 17 games of the regular season. And I've heard that in a lot of places. Marcus Spears said it. The guys on the Zone played that. I heard it on Get Up. And I'm hearing a lot of that, like, oh, they really want to do this and that and all that. Well, I usually think when everybody's on that side, they're wrong. And history says that you don't come out playing with your hair on fire. And I think at some point, regular season games have to start to bore this team. I mean, their success is going to be measured on the postseason. And I just think at some point you have to come empty. All these teams had good coaches. Most of them all, they all pretty much had Hall of Fame quarterbacks, right, Curtis? I don't have that one open, but is there a team in there that was going
think so.
For, let's see, open recent, what do we call it? What do we call that thing?
I think
Super Bowl 2 previous seasons?
Yeah.
History, I know.
Here's one. Here's the only thing I can think of that could create some kind of a setback for the Chiefs is the fact that the Chiefs do all the really good things that they do, but they lose a percentage of the magic plays that saved games. I guess I'll go with that. How's that sound? That Mahomes has done so many magical things that are improbable, and maybe they get it knocked down this time instead of it being caught, or he throws it to the other team a couple more times. It's, in situations where he tries to make a crazy play. That's about it.
I looked at the 4 teams that before the Chiefs that had won a Super Bowl then lost, and to see what they had done the following season, to see what they had done. Obviously, the Patriots did get back and win the Super Bowl. Of the 4 that did what the Chiefs have done the last 2 years, won then lost, and didn't get back, like what might have sunk those teams? And it's varying things. The 15 Seahawks still had the 4th best point differential, but they went 2-5 in games decided by 1 score. So maybe that breaks wrong.
I guess that's kind of what I'm.
Yeah, what you're getting at. Andy Reid's been really good in 1-score games, so maybe that falls away. 98 Packers. Well, the 15-1 Vikings showed up and swept them. They dropped from 5th to 11th in points allowed, so they had a significant drop on one side of the ball, and there was another great team. I don't know if I see the other great team, but they could take a step back. Same thing with the 84 Redskins. They dropped from 34 points a game to 27, and the defense didn't make up for it. So you give up a touchdown a game, that's going to cause you to slide back a little bit. Their defense wasn't very good.
Right. That football team, Washington football team, 34 points was a record.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they like you could predict that they were going to come back to the pack there. That was an easy one to figure.
Yeah, they were overcoming their defense the year before, and when they couldn't do it, they slid back a little bit. And the other is the 79 Cowboys, 7-1 start, but finished 4-4. They fell from 1st to 5th in points scored, 3rd to 12th in points allowed. They missed one of their top players for the year with an injury, and Charlie Waters and Tuttle Jones went to go box. So those are the 4 teams that are trying to. That I guess the Chiefs are trying to not become. They have to avoid any one of those 4 things: a significant drop on one side of the ball or the other, significant injuries, or losing a lot of games by 1 score. And I guess any one of those things is possible.
Clearly, the police are upset with this subject.
That was KCK fire department and EMTs.
That's usually out here. We hear that
they're mad that we're even bringing up this possibility.
Yeah, well, I hear you. No, but I get all that, and I think part of it is just like you've probably kept your core together, and now you're 3 years older. Like you probably didn't get there with rookies. Like you have some core veteran guys, which is this team. I think the Chiefs, the quarterback can play for a long time, but Travis Kelce is starting to get to where we should see a decline sometime soon. Tyreek Hill is still pretty young. I mean, I think the one thing that has boded well for them, I remember a few years ago, it was like best top 25 under 25. And the Chiefs had Chris Jones, Kareem Hunt, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and I was thinking maybe even one more, but they had 4 of the 25 guys that were the best 25 under 25. That served them really well because those guys aren't – well, Kareem Hunt's not here, but the other 3 are not old, right? There's reason to believe they're in their prime. Quarterbacks don't get old until mid-30s nowadays. So that was an important one to have the young quarterback there. But I do think guys like Travis Kelce, and we saw the tackles got old. Now, they've tried to replace them, but by putting all those resources into the offensive line, their problem last year was the defense.
Right?
And they haven't put a ton of resources into the defensive side of the ball. So my expectation is for the defense to be worse than it was last year. Although the one thing that I think, so let's flip it around to we'll come back, we'll flip it around to why it all works. Let me make a note because I always say that and then I forget what the hell it was I was going to do. Like why it all works, I'll give you a reason why I think it's important to know that, yeah, I think there is a scenario that has them going 16-1, and we'll talk about that next. Danny Clinkscale's with us from DannyClinkscale.com. He's brought to you by my friends at Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing's got a variety of finance options for you. If it's time to get that roof replaced, or if you need repairs, they do repairs as well. But if it's time to get that roof replaced and you got to do it now, they can help you get finance. Not just one option, many options at Easton Roofing. Go to EastonRoofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
All right, the good sense, end of the hour answer. Born on this date, the first baseball player to be named first-team All-America at Florida State. Who is he?
I figure this is like a trick question or something. It's probably like a football player that also played baseball.
Nope.
I crushed this one, Pat.
He did. In fact, Jed crushed it so quickly, I thought you said the answer, and he got it from you.
Okay, so Florida State first. Give me the first All-American baseball player at Florida State.
Yep, first baseball player to be first-team All-America at Florida State. He did it twice.
Dick Hauser.
I'm missing somebody obvious.
Danny just said it.
Danny just said it?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Is it the Twins catcher?
Nope.
No, he was going to go to Florida State and then didn't go.
Happened in the 50s.
I have no idea. Who the hell is it?
Dick Hauser.
Yeah, we love Dick.
I guess I should know that, right? I guess I'm a moron.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I saw it. I
just
saw
popped into my head that he went to Florida State, and I'm like, well, that's got to be it.
I saw that today was the day he was his birthday, and so I thought I want an interesting question that has him as the answer. So I just started digging and looked at the Florida State media guide. There he was, 1957,
I've got
58.
Was he the first Golden Spikes winner? Possibly.
I don't know.
Because I think that's
Possible.
maybe why I know that, because he won it at Florida State.
Also an All-American at FSU, current Royals bench coach Pedro Grifol.
Wow.
Really?
How about that?
Interesting.
Well, Soren, I'll give you a chance for redemption.
Okay. Lay it on me.
There's a baseball player who has always fascinated me. His career has always fascinated me. It's an amazing story that has ended with him being a very rich man with perhaps less than that spectacular accomplishments, but he certainly has many, and there's a million great stories around him. But I'll sort of just go in descending order of things for you to guess, and it'll end up with a current one, and that'll be obvious. So we'll do this quickly.
Okay.
With the release of Albert Pujols the other day, he is the oldest player currently in the major leagues.
The oldest player currently in the major leagues. They didn't bring back Big Sexy, did they?
No.
My nephew.
And this includes pitching.
I was informed at Mother's Day brunch that his favorite player to watch hit is Bartolo Colon. So I thought, well, why would this be coming up unless he was back in baseball? I'm like, did someone sign Bartolo Colon? Okay, so let me see. Oldest current player in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
He's 41.
Is it Nelson Cruz?
No. That's close, though. I know he's over 40. All right, we'll move on to
the second youngest.
We'll move on to the next one. Despite the fact that he has won 68 games, mostly as a starter in his lengthy major league career, where he's played for about 11 teams.
So he's a pitcher.
Yes. He has made $75 million playing baseball.
And he's played for 11 teams. Not good enough to stick anywhere, but he's made $75 million, and he's only won 68 games as a starter?
Yep. Maybe 12.
41.
Maybe 13 teams now. Yeah, 41. He's won 68 games with a respectable 3.83 ERA. And he has made $75 million in his career.
Is he currently still starting?
Yes.
In fact,
how am I
he leads the American League in starts, I'm just noticing.
Oh, you figured it out, right? Curtis has figured it out.
I cheated.
How am I blanking on this guy?
All right, I'll give you another one. He basically did almost nothing in his career. After his third year, he won 11 games, and then he didn't win more than 3 games for 7 or 8 years. And then he won 12. Then he ended up having one good season for the L.A. Dodgers and parlayed that into a $50 million contract at the age of 37.
$50 million contract at the age of 37.
Mm-hmm.
Petro, I was
Rich Hill.
Oh, there you go.
Rich Hill, you got it.
Is that right?
That is.
God bless.
That is
Rich Hill, by the
way,
efficiency.
Went to Milton High School, which is in the league that I played sports in high school.
That is wild. Rich Hill. Oh, my God. I didn't realize he was 41 years old.
And yesterday.
He just threw a gem last night.
Yeah, yesterday he struck out 9 Yankees at age 41, joining Nolan Ryan and Walter Johnson as the only 2 pitchers over 41 to strike out 9 Yankees.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Rich Hill.
Fountain
Who
of
knew? Wow, $75 million to win 68 games. Good times. Good times.
He's the Chase Daniel of
the thing is
pitchers.
that the Dodgers just gifted him with that contract. I mean, he pitched down the stretch for him in 2016, started 6 games with a 1.83 ERA after pitching very effectively that year for Oakland, too. And the year before, he had put up a 2.12 for Toronto. Apparently, they decided he was just evergreen and gave him that money, and, well, he's still pitching effectively. So,
yeah, that's amazing. I like that one. I did not realize that kind of history was being made by Rich Hill right now. It doesn't shock me the amount of money, though. There are so many guys I look at and I'm like, this guy really wasn't very good, and he made that much money.
Especially in the NBA, you see that.
Oh, check Keon Dooling's career earnings.
Nick Collison.
Yeah. No, it's staggering. Some of the numbers. We're talking to Danny Clinkscale. It's Danny Unleashed. We just give away Good Sense, founded in Lenexa, Kansas.
By the way, one final Rich Hill note, and then I'll let you get back to the fine.
You are determined to turn this into a Rich Hill broadcast, aren't you?
I'm not. But he went to, like I said, he went to high school in Milton High School, which is in my league, the Framingham North High School League. How would you like to play sports for the Whiz Kids? That's Milton High School's nickname.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one. We'll go ahead and walk from that. Right. By the way, Good Sense, what we were playing for, go to goodsensesubs.com. You can put your order in right now. The app, easiest way to order. Remember, you get 10% back. We're here at All Weather Decks, grand opening of their showroom, where you can see all the different colors of all the different materials. Everything that they do is on display here at their showroom, so you can see it before you figure out what you want to do. Of course, you can sign up for an appointment if you want right online. You can just go to allweatherdecks.net and get signed up for an appointment to have one of the sales reps come out and talk to you about the project. Also see all kinds of great photos, all the awards they've won. That's at allweatherdecks.net, but now tangible. Touch it and feel it showroom here at 42nd and Metropolitan, 4221, just east of 635. So no matter where you are, it's literally just several hundred feet east of 635, so easy to get to. And check it out and come talk to the guys here at allweatherdecks.net. Danny's brought to you by Easton Roofing. You can find them online at eastonroofing.com. All kinds of financing available for your roof as well. Much more than just the pigeonhole approach that most roofing companies take. Go to eastonroofing.com today. Danny, I said I would tell you how it all goes right for the Chiefs, or a scenario as to why they would be 16-1 when really the history of where they're at says that they should be regressing. Beyond the obvious, Patrick Mahomes plus Andy Reid, right? That's the part. But the thing for me, like Curtis was rattling off all those teams that regress, they dropped this much in points allowed, they dropped this much in points scored. They weren't that great defensively anyway. They weren't the number one offense in the NFL last year. Right, that's the thing. They get talked, that offense, it's unstoppable. But it was fourth in the NFL, I think, in points? Fourth or fifth in points? And maybe, was it second or third in yards? Let me look. I've got that open here. Let's see.
I'll pull that up.
Total offense, they were first in yards, but at 29.6, they were sixth in points. So there's kind of this, last year there was still kind of this mystique that this was an offense that nobody was even close to. When in reality, the Packers, Bills, Bucks, Titans, and Saints were all scoring at a higher clip than the Chiefs. So I think there actually is reason to improve. If I'm wrong, and the prediction that they're going to come out and they're going to play with their hair on fire because they got something to prove, this is going to be like 19 again when they were trying to avenge that loss in the AFC Championship game. And I'm kind of like, I'm not buying it. Like they're rock stars now. It's just another concert. Okay, I think at some point, but they're in Cleveland. They really want to put on a show. No, it's just another concert, right? Great bands make you think that, boy, this is the most important concert they've ever played, right? They're just that talented. They're just that good. But we know at some point it's like, hey, another town, another show, I think that element has to be kicking into this team, but maybe I'm wrong. I know this. I know that they were not the best offensive team in football last year by points. And they were far from the best defensive team. So there is a reason to believe that they can get significantly better on both sides of the ball. This isn't like, what made me think of that was when Curtis talked about football team in 84 coming off scoring 34 points a game. The next year they scored 27 a game, which was probably still first, top five, right, I'm sure, in the NFL, if not first in the NFL. That's not the case with this team. This team wasn't 6 points a game better than everybody else on offense. Kind of like the Peyton Manning Broncos that lost to the Seahawks. Like, you knew that he wasn't coming back and going for 5,655 again, so you knew there was a regression. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes threw for, 4,738 touchdowns? Neither one of those are close to records. I think he could come out and throw for 5,560, in a 17-game season and have them be even better on offense. Like, I do think they still have some of the best skill position. And I think that we are sleeping on the fact, potentially, if again, I'm playing it out that they are a dominant, unbeatable force this year. If that scenario plays out, we will have slept on the fact that part of the reason they weren't the number one offense is because that offensive line was holding them back all year. As the guys went down, we saw it finally implode in the Super Bowl, but the accumulation of injuries was happening during the year, and maybe the reason why they couldn't ever blow anybody out is because they really were kind of just patching it together.
I think
and now they go too deep with
points.
talented offensive linemen, and they should be able to just get on a roll, and now they have a chance to hammer people because Mahomes is going to sit back there untouched, pick people apart. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to rush for 1,400 yards and catch for 700 because they're going to, constantly be getting first downs, more plays, more reps, and they're going to he's going to be pounding the running game behind a bigger, more physical offensive line, and they are even better. Like, that's the scenario to me where it all works out.
I can't disagree with that, and I'll put it this way. If you gave me the choice between 12-5 and 16-1, I'd take 16-1.
Really?
If that was my only two choices. If those are my only two choices. Now I obviously am picking somewhere in between. But if you told me I had to pick one of those two,
okay.
I'm picking 16-1.
Okay. I think that's fair. I don't, I'm picking 12-5 just going with the history of it.
Right.
But I also don't think they're going to be better on defense. Do you think they're going to be better defensively?
No, I don't. And that's why I wouldn't pick them to be 16-1, but just given those two choices, I would lean to the 16-1.
Yardage, they were 8, 10, 12, 14, 16th in yards allowed. In points allowed, they were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11th. And we don't think they're going to be as good?
No, I don't think they're going to be as good. I think there was a little bit of attrition there, and they didn't do much to address it. So, no, I don't think
I would not predict it, but I can see a scenario where Frank Clark comes out knowing he's got to play well to get the next year of his deal, not even a new deal, just to keep from being cut. Because if he plays like he did last year, he will be cut. They have to. There's no point in not cutting him. And so I can see a scenario where Frank Clark comes out with his hair on fire. He plays every game like it's Michigan, Ohio State, because he wants that $30-odd million or whatever he's in line for. I can see that happening. I can see the young secondary getting better. I mean, I can write you a scenario where they are better defensively, but it's not because of a bunch of upgrades they made in the offseason.
No, and I think that, they play in the AFC. There's a lot of good offensive teams in the AFC. There's a lot of good quarterback play. Now, did they catch the break in the fact that they're playing the NFC East? Yes, but, they play in the AFC. There's a lot of good teams, a lot of good offenses. So you're probably going to give up some points. And I just think it's human nature when you got Patrick Mahomes on your side to just not have the complete and utter, you don't have to go win the game. You don't. I mean, you got 15.
Yeah, no,
football's about urgency. I mean, defense is about urgency.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. All right, we'll talk about who Danny thinks the toughest contenders are for the Chiefs.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, there's all kinds of roofing companies in Kansas City. People see their trucks, they see their ads, they see their commercials on TV. What separates you out from the pack?
Danny, there's a lot of roofers in Kansas City that are good roofers that can put a good roof on, but we like to pride ourselves on giving you a good customer service experience. From the first time you call, you're going to get a friendly voice on the phone. We're going to let you know what's happening and when it's happening. And, the other piece is some companies are small enough to do small jobs. Some companies are big enough to do big jobs. We're right there in the middle. We can handle the little stuff. We can handle your repairs all the way up to your big commercial roofs.
So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you at Easton Roofing?
You can find us at eastonroofing.com, or you can always call us at 913-257-5426. That's 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're listening to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're live at All Weather Deck's new showroom. You can check it out in person, 42nd and Metropolitan, just east of 635. Got a great sale going on stones, so come check it out. If you got a project that you're ready to build, All Weather Decks will build it and build it better than anybody else. 23 crews working around the metro. Gentleman just came in and got signed up today to get his overhaul. Didn't like his patio setup. He said, okay, let's go. What are we looking at? Got a chance to look at all the different materials that are available here at the showroom at 42nd and Metropolitan. You can also schedule an appointment to have one of the sales reps come out to your house. Just do that all online. Clickety-click at allweatherdecks.net. Danny Clinkscale brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can find them online at eastonroofing.com, and you can find multiple financing options at Easton Roofing, commercial and residential. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Danny, who are the contenders to the Chiefs? Who's going to rise up and be the biggest challenge?
I'll give one standard answer, which I think is the Ravens. I think they're good, and I think they made some additions, and I think they've still got, a fresh-legged quarterback to go back there, and Lamar Jackson. He's not beat up yet. So that's my standard answer. My off-the-beaten-path answer is the Colts.
Okay.
If Frank Reich can make the connection that he did with Carson Wentz, they have many of the other bases covered as well as any team in the conference. If he plays above average, well above average quarterback, not necessarily great, I think the Colts are dangerous. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that the Bills are there for a regression, and I guess that's all I got, except maybe somehow the Patriots find gold in their rookie quarterback.
No.
And all the other talent they had, and the returning talent, and a vengeful Bill Belichick, but I think that's a long shot too. So I guess I'm going with the Ravens and the Colts.
I do like the Mac Jones pick. I think Mac Jones, everyone acted like the guy who was getting slammed was Justin Fields, and then they proceed to be like, wow, Justin Fields, Mac Jones sucked at this, and this. The guy I always heard getting slammed was Mac Jones. I actually think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. So I do get that part of it, but I don't think the Patriots are ready to contend yet. But you didn't mention the Cleveland Browns.
Nope. I don't.
Don't see it?
I don't have faith in Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
He can prove me wrong. I just think he's kind of like a golfer who has a bad golf swing, and when he finds a vein of confidence, he's the Jordan Spieth of football. To make an analogy that football fans probably won't.
It helped me out.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Spieth is really doesn't. He was like the best player in the world, and then he fell off the face of the earth because he's really not. He doesn't have the fundamentals of the game down, but he has an unbelievable sense of confidence in himself. I think that's Baker Mayfield. You get the hot Baker Mayfield who's feeling good about himself and everything's rolling along. I think he can be a good player. You got the other Baker Mayfield who's undersized and makes bad decisions and is fully capable of throwing 20 interceptions this year. So, no, I don't believe in the Browns. I don't.
I'm not buying Kevin Stefanski. I think he's got that.
The Browns outscored last year.
I think he's got. Well, I do think they've improved their team talent wise.
I do.
So
too.
I think that is a reason to like them.
Especially in the secondary.
Something about Stefanski just rubs me wrong. That he's kind of got a smug, I'm the smartest guy in the room attitude, and I think when you project that, most everybody I've seen do that, Brad Childress, Adam Gase, they suck. They end up getting, they end up not being good. And I think that's going to end up being the case here. So I could see a regression. I think they either get on a roll, and they're going to be tough because I do like their roster. I think they're good at all three levels on defense.
Agreed.
I think they will pound the rock, which makes it easier for Baker Mayfield to be a good quarterback. I think they're going to get Odell Beckham Jr. back, who ought to be playing for his career. I expect him to get hurt, but they proved that they were better without him. But I think there's a chance that if Beckham Jr. has been humbled, that they have a lot of firepower. And, you put 8 in the box, I think Baker Mayfield, I think a lot of people could look pretty good against 8 in the box with some of the weapons that he's got. So, I think if they don't break through and have like a 12-4 season, it's not happening with Mayfield. I'm with you. Like, it's just not going to be there. And the thing, I'm with you on the regression with the Bills, except for the PFF guys just think the Bills are the smartest organization in the league.
And the PFF guys know far more about football than I do. But it just – maybe it's just because they're the Bills. And the Bills have, had such a checkered career, franchise for so long since their glory days with Jim Kelly that it just doesn't seem right that they should be good. But I mean, I'm trying to think of a baseball team that you're like, no, like the White Sox.
Yeah, it's called the Royals.
Like the White Sox.
I don't know why you had to think. Didn't have to go far for that one. Danny, great stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate it. We encourage everybody to get to DannyKlinkscale.com. Check out his great work. A lot of it brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. We will do it again next week, my friend.
Sounds great.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.